hottest party of the summer or the second biggest pay-per-view in WWE, whatever you like to refer to it as, SummerSlam is finally here right around the corner this upcoming weekend, and I am super excited for this card. I'm excited to predict this card because I actually do think there's actually a lot of unpredictability in this card, and I'm excited to see if we're going to walk out with some new champions, which hint, hint, we definitely are walking out with some new champions. Now, real quick, before we get into the predictions, if you guys enjoy professional wrestling content, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you guys see all the future videos. Turn on those notifications so you're one of the first people who gets to be knowing when the videos come out. With that being said, let's talk about SummerSlam 2024 in Cleveland. Now, before we get into the actual card itself, I do want to say I think one of the biggest fumbles that Triple H did was not putting that 3-on-3 match between the Wyatt Six, Chad Gable, and Creed brothers on this card. Whether they did it on like the opening show or whatever, 60,000 people in a sold out, which I'm not 100% sure if it's sold out, in a 60,000 people in Cleveland in the Brown Stadium would have been insane. With the Fireflies and the entrance for the Wyatt Six would have been nuts. I think they dropped the ball on that one, but I guess they want to get the TV feud for this. I don't know. But let's go into the first match of the card. I am not sure if Logan Paul or Sami Zayn as champions is going to open it up, but let's talk about Sami Zayn against Braun Breaker. Now, all over social media, I see people talking about it's too early for Braun Breaker. Why is he going to win a title so fast, so now? I think people forget how fast Sheamus won a world title. I think people forget the fact that within the first couple of months of being on the main roster, Brock Lesnar was a world champion. Now, I said it when it happened. I'll say it again. I think Braun Breaker losing that first title match against Sami Zayn wasn't the smartest thing to do. I think it did hurt his aura a little bit. A lot of people now are just saying that he's like bad Goldberg with the same moveset and like not as believable because he lost. But I do think that Braun Breaker should win this match. I think that Braun Breaker should dominate this match. But as we know, I don't know if Sami Zayn is in his Hulk Hogan or Super Cena era. They're trying to make Sami Zayn seem like this underdog that can overcome anybody. But I do think somehow, some way, Braun Breaker is finally going to put him down for the count and become our new Intercontinental Champion. I will tell you this, if Sami Zayn wins this match, I'm going to riot and I'm going to lose my mind. Next up, we're going to the United States Championship. We got Logan Paul, the defending champion, who's from Ohio. He's not directly in Cleveland, but he's from Ohio. It's basically in his hometown, against LA Knight. Yeah. Many people want this to finally be the crowning moment for LA Knight. We all know he's worked his butt off all over the wrestling for the past 20 years just to get to this moment. My guy's in his 40s. If there's ever a time to put a title on him, it is now. But Logan Paul has brought some insane eyes to the WWE. Obviously, he told us he would be a full-time wrestler and is barely on television. And many people are saying it's because he's been doing stuff to really promote the title. Like, he was on the Mr. Beast video. He's been going on podcasts with the title. He's went to UFC fights with the title. He's done a great job to really elevate the title into notoriety. A lot more people, obviously, watch the WWE because of him. A lot more people know about the United States title, and a lot of people are starting to say that United States title is going to be the next mid-card title to be a big deal. But with Logan Paul not being full-time, he has a kid on the way and everything, I do believe he's going to drop the title to LA Knight here. I think LA Knight is going to be a good champion, and I think LA Knight's finally going to have a crowning moment. I do think this is a relegation for LA Knight. Just couple months ago, my guy was competing for the world title, and now he's, you know, some people are saying he's not even the favorite against Logan Paul to win the United States title. So I do think it's a little bit of a relegation for him, but winning any type of title in the WWE is a big deal. To finally get crowned a United States champion is going to be a big deal. I'm going to take LA Knight on this one. Next up, we have the Queen of the Ring, Nia Jax, finally getting her title shot against Bayley. Now, I think WWE has completely flopped on Bayley. She was one of the hottest, if not the hottest storyline in the WWE with Damage Control going into WrestleMania. And I actually think they purposely cooled her off just because of how big her storyline was. And I feel like a lot of the WWE didn't want to give the women as much TV time because of the storylines they had with the men going on and the future plans they had for the men. We've barely seen Bayley on TV or wrestle, and when they do, they're short matches, someone interferes, She interferes, and I think that the whole idea here was to cool her off so Nia Jax can win the title. Now, as you guys remember, during my Money in the Bank predictions, I told you guys that Tiffany Stratton is winning the Money in the Bank for this specific reason. With Nia Jax being her somewhat bodyguard, best friend, or whatever, you got to remember that Tiffany Stratton is the Money in the Bank holder. And I believe in this situation, Nia Jax is going to win the title here. Does Tiffany Stratton tease a cash in here, or does Tiffany Stratton wait for another moment to cash in on Nia Jax? I do believe they're going to implode the story by having Tiffany cash in on Nia, and it's going to get probably one of the most insane pops ever. But I do believe that they still want to make a Money in the Bank briefcase for Tiffany that Nia is going to gift her. So, because they definitely want to sell a Tiffany Stratton pink Money in the Bank briefcase. I will be purchasing that. But I believe Nia Jax storyline makes too much sense for her to win this. Give me Nia Jax. Next up, mommy's home. We got Rhea Ripley against Liv Morgan for the women's world title, I believe it is, because Bayley has a WWE women's title. I forget how they work with that. But Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, this is a wild card to me. This is one of those matches where I actually will say it is the first completely unpredictable match. Kind of like the Braun Breaker and Sami Zayn, where I wouldn't be surprised if either guy wins, just because Sami Zayn is in his Hulk Hogan era. I wouldn't be surprised, and I think this is what's going to happen. I believe that Dominic Mysterio is going to turn on Rhea Ripley here. I think this whole time that Liv and Dom have been playing mind games with Rhea Ripley just so she puts her guard down, and I believe that Dominic Mysterio is somehow going to cause Rhea Ripley to lose this match, because I think at Bad Blood is when we're going to get either a cage match or some kind of crazy stipulation match between these two that is going to be how we get really the blow off of this feud. But I'm actually going to be taking Liv Morgan to retain her title in this match. Like I said, I don't know if it's going to be a DQ. I don't know if it's going to be Dominic trying to help Rhea with something, and it ultimately causes Rhea to get hit with like an Oblivion or a weapon or something like that. But I believe Liv Morgan is going to be walking out of Cleveland as your champion. Rhea's going to be pissed off. It's going to start the implosion of the Judgment Day here. And I also believe that Dominic Mysterio is going to hint to us that he's on Liv Morgan's side. Now here comes the biggest wild card, and I think this is the match that every single person is looking forward to when it comes to SummerSlam. We got CM Punk with Drew McIntyre one-on-one, and Seth freaking Rollins is your special guest referee. Now, this past Monday on Raw, we saw Seth freaking Rollins tell us that he doesn't like either of these guys, and whatever he says is going to happen. If he wants to count to 3, he's going to count to 3. If somebody submits and he doesn't want to call the match there, he's not going to call the match. Do they want to do a count out? He'll decide if he's going to start counting a count out. The biggest thing with this that I think is the wild card is going to be Seth Rollins. I think Seth Rollins being involved in the storyline is really, he's going to decide really what happens here. Obviously, he's the referee, but I believe somehow, some way, this is going to turn into a triple threat match, either at Bash at Berlin or at Bad Blood. So I believe Seth Rollins is going to turn on both of these guys at some point in the match. I have no idea how it's going to end. I don't know if it's going to end in a no contest where Seth Rollins beats up both of these guys at the end, like hits him with a pedigree on one and a stomp on the other, and then just calls the match off and says they're both knocked out. I don't know if we're going to have CM Punk win or Drew McIntyre. This is one of the most unpredictable matches for me. If I had to pick one of these guys to win, I think Drew McIntyre is so hot right now. Yes, he is a good-looking guy. I don't mean it that way, though. He is so hot right now. He is on TV every week. He is in the best shape we've ever seen him. He is killing it on the mic. Having him lose any which way clean would be nuts, right? In my opinion. But there is the storyline with the whole bracelet. I can see CM Punk literally winning it, taking the bracelet off him, having that feel-good moment, and it being all because of Seth Rollins. But like I said, I do think somehow, some way, this ends in a no contest or a DQ where Seth Rollins doesn't let one of these guys win, and then he beats both these guys up, sets us up for a triple threat match at Bash in Berlin or Bad Blood. But if I have to take a winner, I'm taking Drew McIntyre. Now, the co-main event of the evening, I believe this is the co-main event of the evening, is Damian Priest against Gunther. And I am very surprised that they kept this as a normal singles match. I thought somehow, some way, this would get a stipulation of either a last man standing, Iron Man match, or a no DQ match, just because of how violent it started getting towards the end with all the segments they were doing. We have a kind of interesting turn on Damian Priest's character. I believe Damian Priest is now in that tweener phase, heading towards being a face. And Gunther has clearly solidified himself as a massive heel. He's been taking personal shots at the way Damian Priest grew up and the way he got into the business and got to where he got to. I have a major bias in this match. As you guys know, I'm a massive Damian Priest fan. I am from New York. He is from New York. All my friends growing up were Puerto Rican, so I've always support the Hispanic wrestlers and stuff like that. So I have a bias towards Damian Priest, but I actually do think Damian Priest should walk out as champion in this match. I do think that if they want to start getting Damian Priest to be a face, I wouldn't be surprised if he wins this match, but I wouldn't be surprised if he wins it by DQ. And that's how he gives a rematch at Bash in Berlin to Gunther, because I do believe Gunther will be facing Damian Priest again at Bash in Berlin with the stipulation. I do, like I said, I think Damian Priest walks out as champion in this, but I do think it's going to be funky, just like, you know, the CM Punk and Drew McIntyre match. So give me Damian Priest to retain his title, whether he wins, because if there's a DQ, the other guy wins. I don't know, but I'm going to be taking Damian Priest to win the title, to walk out of there as your champion. And lastly, we have the main event of the evening. We have Cody Rhodes against Solo Sikoa. Again, very surprised we do not have a stipulation. It's crazy that we don't have a single stipulation on any of these matches on the card. I don't know how we got to this where none of these matches had a stipulation, especially not this one. I thought it was going to be so badass if Cody Rhodes challenged Solo Sikoa to a Bloodline rules match. That would have been the most badass thing that Cody Rhodes could have done. And I think it would have won a lot of fans over. It would have won me over in this match. And you guys know that I'm not the biggest Cody Rhodes fanboy out there, but I think Solo Sikoa has to win this match. Now, let me explain before everybody starts going crazy. The reason why I think Solo Sikoa has to win this match, and it's all going to be happening what happens on SmackDown. Since I'm recording this right after Monday Night Raw, on SmackDown, if Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu win the tag team titles, Solo Sikoa has to win the WWE title. It will literally remake what the original Bloodline was, and it'll prove to everybody that Solo Sikoa is just as much a tribal chief, and his version of the Bloodline is just as good, if not better, because he was able to overcome Cody Rhodes. And that will force Roman Reigns to have to come into the picture and come destroy this Bloodline and this version of the Bloodline that he has kind of let happen. I see literally everyone on social media saying that Roman Reigns is coming back at the end of the match to save Cody Rhodes. I don't think you waste that return in this situation. Let me quickly explain. Everyone's like, oh, this is going to set us up for War Games. Guys, War Games is in November. We are literally going to be in August 3rd. You're telling me that all of August, September, and October, they're somehow, through November, they're going to lead us into a storyline build into War Games? I don't think so. I think that there's a much better chance that Solo wins it here, and at Bad Blood, I want to say, Cody Rhodes is going to end up winning it back from Solo Sikoa with a returning Roman Reigns, which then will set us up for having a War Games match between the old Bloodline and the new Bloodline. So is there a chance Jimmy Uso returns? Potentially. I just think Solo Sikoa has to beat Cody Rhodes in this situation for us to keep caring about the Bloodline story with Cody Rhodes involved. Now, I want to know from you guys, what prediction of mine do you think was crazier? If you had to predict any of these matches to go completely differently from the way that I said, I want to know from you guys down in the comments below. What match is it? How do you think it finishes? And what do you think is going to be the best match on this card? I always like to ask people, like, what do you think will be the MVP match and stuff like that? For me personally, I think it's very obvious that CM Punk and Drew McIntyre has to be the MVP match of the card. They're going to put on an absolute banger with Seth Rollins. So that is 100% my MVP match, but I do think Logan Paul is going to have the show out moment in this match. I don't know if he's going to go for a crazy 5-star frog splash on LA Knight. I don't know if he's going to go for one of those elbow drops onto the outside table. I think Logan Paul is going to give us another viral moment, even though he's going to end up losing. Those are like the little things I like to predict in all my stuff. So, you know, that's where I'm at on that. And lastly, if you guys want to watch the show along with me, I am going to be watching it on Twitch. I do this every single Monday, Friday, and every PLE. And we're also going to be playing bingo. You'll be able to get a bingo card like I do for every single one of my PLEs, where if you come by the stream and you do exclamation point bingo, you guys will be able to play bingo with us. It's going to be a lot of fun. So if you don't follow the Twitch, it's Alan Owens on Twitch. Make sure you guys come by. With that being said, if you guys made it this far into the video, I appreciate you guys with the predictions. Make sure you guys answer the questions that I had in the comments down below. And if obviously you made it this far, make sure to subscribe. It's somewhere on the screen right here. And make sure to turn on notifications. With that being said, I am Alan Owens. This is much love from me to you guys. I love each and every single one of you guys. Peace out, everybody.